Hey Fallon, how you doing? Okay, let me see. Here's your poster right here. Okay, let me zoom out here a little bit. Good start, really good start. I think it's really interesting. It's a little underdeveloped right now, but I think that we can definitely work on this. It's got potential without question, so that's fantastic. Um, okay, so let's start out with the actual space illustration itself. I think that it could be a little more visually engaging. One of the things I'm going to recommend, and I recommend this all the time throughout every session, throughout every assignment, and I recommend this to students constantly. Do your visual research and do not ever hesitate to take tutorials that you find online. I would say, as far as design advice goes, I would be careful where you take a design advice. But a tutorial is a tutorial. If you can learn a technique, pick up a technique, definitely do that. So I think that a really good idea to get through this class and establishing more engaging, visually engaging and visually uh, interesting aspects for your poster is to go out and do some research. For example, I just did this. I said Illustrator space scenes. Okay, and you can see a lot of really cool techniques and all sorts of these. And again, it was just a simple Google search, Illustrator space scene. And you have all sorts of interesting techniques. And there's a bunch of tutorials here too. So you can really, there's an interesting one. There's all sorts of really super interesting work here. So again, the point I'm trying to make is don't ever hesitate to jump out there and take some visual cues from what's online and really interesting, right? And really try to employ some visual engagement and visual interest in your pieces. And sometimes, of course, that does entail maybe taking our ideas as a springboard and jumping out there and seeing what other designers are doing and compiling that all together on our own work. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a cool spaceship, huh? Absolutely nothing wrong with that whatsoever. So I think that would definitely help here. Take a few tutorials on illustrating the moon. We could use some depth and dimension in there and some volume. I think this is a really interesting way to shade the kind of glass associated with the flying saucer. But I think we could use some shading all the way around here. And that doesn't necessarily have to be gradients. It can be just a straight tonal variations to establish depth and dimension. And then some stars in the background, different colors, stars, different size stars, maybe some planets. Don't forget your law of diminishing size to establish depth in a composition, as well as overlap to establish depth in a composition. So those are two principles I think would be really interesting here, seeing that there is plenty of depth associated with a space scene. Finally, my final recommendation would be to say this. I would say right here, I would take across the top of here, I would say aliens, question mark, right? Aliens, or just say aliens, no question mark, and say believe with a question mark. So you're kind of making this correlation between, basically you're saying, do you believe in aliens? And I think that adding a little bit of a more interesting type up here will help the composition as well. Okay, so again, just a little more visual engagement, just really push these techniques to add some visual interest to the piece, and I think you're good to go. All right, great start. Thank you very much. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. You know what I want to do real quick? I want to say, let's do this real quick. I just want to say Illustrator Moon. Let's see what that brings up. Okay, there's some, ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's got some great dimension, some great depth, some great shading. These are really interesting here. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, definitely get out there and do some visual research. Don't be afraid to take tutorials and try to employ some of the techniques that you learned to create greater visual engagement in your piece. All right, good job. Thank you very much.